Interim South Korean president impeached mere 2 weeks following the ousting of former leader. Musk and Ramaswamy encounter backlash from MAGA supporters after advocating for foreign workers in tech firms, with Musk endorsing a post.
Syria's former leader, Assad, claims he intended to continue the conflict, but his Russian allies arranged for his evacuation. According to the Financial Times, Assad transported $250 million in cash from Syria to Russia over a span of 2 years. Meanwhile, a prisoner who previously identified himself as a victim of the Assad regime is reportedly an intelligence officer, as stated by local residents.
Trump claims he called off his trip to Bedminster due to drones in New Jersey, while a drone detection system is now in place in New York following unexplained sightings. The UK is reconsidering social media regulation following the far-right riots of summer 2024 and is examining ways to compel more transparency in AI training models. Nearly 800 individuals have been apprehended in connection with a Nigerian crypto romance scam. Ukraine claims it's behind Moscow blast that killed head of Russia's nuclear defense forces. EU moves towards suspending visa-free travel for Georgian diplomats. First batch of US-made M1A2T tanks arrives in Taiwan. Pope reveals he was target of suicide bomb attempt during 2021 Iraq visit, and Pope Francis reveals 2 attempts on his life during 2021 visit to Iraq. US probes Spain for reportedly blocking port for ships with weapons for Israel. 10 days ago, shipping giant Maersk violated Spanish embargo on sending military goods to Israel, researchers say. Trump says Russia and Ukraine peace may be harder than Middle East. In Syria to Xinjiang link, China warns leaders in Damascus not to threaten security elsewhere. UN migration chief tells AFP, not advising large-scale returns to Syria now. Human Rights Watch says Israel's deprivation of water in Gaza is act of genocide.
Alberta introduces a U.S. border security strategy featuring sheriffs, canines, and drones, while Canada suggests a collaborative police force with the U.S. to address Trump's border issues. Trump remarked that Canada becoming the 51st state would be a fantastic idea. A New York resident admits to running a clandestine police station for the Chinese government in Lower Manhattan. China refutes the existence of secret police stations, following the man's guilty plea. In the United States, the Department of Homeland Security (DHS) has introduced a final rule to assist companies in filling more positions and to enhance worker protections within the H-2 programs. Additionally, the DHS has fortified the H-1B program, enabling U.S. employers to more swiftly fill essential roles. Meanwhile, Trump's transition team is considering the expansion of ankle monitors for illegal immigrants who are not in custody. Furthermore, a survey reveals that over half of Generation X parents are concerned about financially supporting their children into adulthood.
U.S. imposes sanctions on an entity and individuals involved in a virtual currency money laundering network supporting the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. U.S. targets North Korea with sanctions for backing Russia and advancing ballistic missile technology. U.S. imposes sanctions on drug traffickers associated with New Zealand. NATO assumes control of military aid coordination to Kyiv from the U.S., according to a source. In the United States, a lawsuit alleges that the State Department has established loopholes for Israel regarding military aid and human rights, while Palestinians file a lawsuit against the State Department over U.S. military assistance to Israel. The BBC states that a plot to assassinate the Pope has been thwarted by UK intelligence. In Germany, Christmas market attack, Saudi doctor arrested, after 2 killed and 68 injured. Saudi Arabia warned Germany ahead of Christmas market ramming, source claims. Houthis fire a ballistic missile named Palestine 2 at Tel Aviv. It has been commented as Netanyahu to skip Auschwitz liberation event in Poland over ICC arrest fears.
Mexicans blame U.S. for arms trafficking and reject the possibility of foreign agents operating on their territory, as it has been reported that Mexico devastated by iron river of guns from U.S. Pentagon says it doubled the number of U.S. troops in Syria before Assad's fall, and U.S. lifts $10 million bounty on HTS leader after talks in Syrian capital. 7 days ago, it has been reported as Syrian rebel leader said, territory will not be used to launch attacks against Israel. Palestinian Americans sue Biden over failure to evacuate relatives stuck in Gaza.
Syrian interim government plans to disclose a list of names of former Assad regime officials who are wanted. Putin declared that Russia transported 4,000 Iranian troops from Syria to Tehran, and he refuted claims of Russian defeat in Syria, stating that Israel is the primary beneficiary. It has been remarked that Israel's Netanyahu is focusing on Iran following his successes against Hamas, Hezbollah, and Syria. Russia will continue to pose a threat to Europe after the Ukraine conflict, according to Finland. Estonia's chief intelligence officer emphasizes that NATO must deter Russia for the next decade to two. Meanwhile, Putin states that Russia is prepared to negotiate with Trump regarding the Ukraine war. Additionally, Hungary has granted rare political asylum to a fugitive Polish peace lawmaker, following Poland's issuance of an arrest warrant for the opposition politician facing criminal charges 8 days prior.
Trump's border czar states that he requires funding and a minimum of 100,000 beds to implement deportation plans. Advocates reportedly train immigrants to prepare to stay in the U.S. during Trump's administration. It has been reported that, as landowners resist, Texas border wall is fragmented and constructed in remote locations.
Syrian former rebel groups unite under the Defense Ministry's supervision. Turkey reports that more than 25,000 Syrians have returned to their homeland since the fall of Assad. Saudi Arabia carries out the execution of 330 individuals in 2024, marking the highest number in decades, even amidst claims of reform.
Haiti has announced a state of emergency for 1 month due to increasing gang violence. In Israel, the defense minister has confirmed that Israel was responsible for the assassination of Hamas leader Haniyeh in Tehran. According to The Economist, Ukraine is working on a missile that can reach Moscow.
Putin meets Slovak PM amid Ukraine gas contract expiration. Fico criticizes Zelensky for not extending Russian gas transit, warning of a crisis. IMF's new forecast suggests the war in Ukraine will conclude by late 2025 or 2026. Donald Trump claims Vladimir Putin seeks a meeting as soon as possible regarding the Ukraine war. Zelensky says Ukraine's membership of NATO is achievable, as Volodymyr Zelensky tells Ukraine's diplomats to fight for NATO membership, and Zelensky says Europe must work together to secure Ukraine peace. In the U.S., DHS, FBI, FAA, and Department of Defense joint statement on ongoing response to reported drone sightings and urge Congress to enact counter-UAS legislation. Palantir and Anduril join forces with tech groups to bid for Pentagon contracts.
Trump warns Panama could lose control of the canal if it keeps exploiting the U.S. Elon Musk asserts that constructing a tunnel from London to New York would be as £15.7 billion if he were to undertake the project. Italy's prime minister declares that the EU will not permit Russia or other nations to jeopardize security via immigration.
Reuters indicates that Guatemala is willing to receive deportees from Central America sent by Trump, according to sources. In Mozambique, 6,000 prisoners flee from a high-security facility during post-election unrest. A significant portion of Obamacare applications originate from states that voted for Trump. Japan Airlines experiences a cyber attack, leading to certain flight delays. Finland investigates a Russian Shadow Fleet oil tanker following a cable-cutting event. China operates a newly developed stealth fighter jet, speculated to be of the 6th generation. Hamas claims that Israel has imposed new conditions, causing a delay in the Gaza ceasefire agreement, while both Hamas and Israel attribute the delay to each other. An Israeli investigation suggests that the army's actions in Rafah are likely responsible for the deaths of 6 hostages. Global Monitor warns that famine is imminent in North Gaza, but a U.S. diplomat dismisses this warning as irresponsible. Additionally, the U.S. envoy criticizes the report claiming famine in North Gaza as outdated and inaccurate. Despite an Israeli promise to address gangs, looting reportedly severely impacts Gaza's food supply. U.S. takes lead in crypto market with Trump agenda and ETF demand. Russia's finance minister states that Bitcoin can be used in international trade. BlackRock, Grayscale, and Fidelity control 85% of U.S. Bitcoin ETF reserves.
Amazon reportedly requested Chinese sellers to avoid pricing their products lower than Temu. Goldman Sachs disclosed that China's economic stimulus will help mitigate the impact of U.S. tariffs in 2025. The U.S. banking lobby has filed a lawsuit against the Federal Reserve concerning the stress test framework. SoftBank CEO and Trump reveal a $100 billion investment in the U.S. by the company. Kioxia, a semiconductor leader, plans to go public on the 18th, focusing on AI applications, but its market capitalization is under half of the anticipated value. Time, an African digital bank, secures a $250 million funding round led by Nubank, valuing the company at $1.5 billion. Brazil's unemployment rate reaches a new record low, yet the pace of job creation decelerates. In the United States, unemployment benefit applications remain constant, but continuing claims have surged to a 3-year high. Additionally, homelessness has increased by 18%, as affordable housing remains elusive for numerous individuals, with factors such as migrants and the cessation of COVID restrictions reportedly contributing to this rise. Meanwhile, in Cambodia, an opposition leader has been imprisoned following his conviction for inciting disorder. Mexico is piloting a cell phone app that enables migrants to notify authorities if they are on the verge of being detained in the U.S. Concerns arise in Mexico that Trump might authorize strikes against drug cartels, prompting plans to open shelters for more than 12,000 citizens deported during Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration. MSNBC remarks that the present Democratic Party lacks any appeal for Trump supporters.
Yarrow, Washington, D.C. expels a high-ranking Somali national found guilty of human rights abuses. Allegedly, critics of Elon Musk have had their verification badges revoked following public confrontations with a billionaire, marking the initial stages of censorship. Venezuela is probing an Argentine officer for connections to terrorism, according to the Attorney General. Lawmakers argue that it is premature to remove U.S. sanctions on Syria. Officials report that Israeli troops set fire to a hospital in northern Gaza after evacuating staff and patients. A week ago, the U.S. sanctioned former Georgian Prime Minister and billionaire Ivanishvili. Britain and the U.S. have also sanctioned Georgian officials for their actions against pro-EU protesters. FTC, Illinois Attorney General take action against Grubhub for harming diners, workers, and small businesses as company to pay $25 million and junk fees and backup earnings claims to resolve charges of consumer protection and competition law violations. FTC issues rules requiring hotels, ticket sellers to reveal junk fees. In the U.S., students overpaid elite colleges $685 million, price-fixing, suit says. 2 months ago, it has been reported as Harvard and Yale among dozens of universities targeted in financial aid price-fixing lawsuit. In Brazil, CID informed the PF that funds for the coup attempt came from individuals involved in agribusiness. Additionally, Braga Neto became the first 4-stars general to be arrested in the country since 1964. A video suggests the Assad regime's participation in extensive illicit drug trafficking. During a French league match between PSG and Lyon, the referee paused the game due to homophobic chants.
Chinese e-commerce merchants establish their presence in Russian online marketplaces. Temu becomes the top downloaded app on the U.S. App Store in 2024. Walmart collaborates with delivery company Meituan to enhance China e-commerce sales. Less than 50% of Latinos in the U.S. have sufficient health insurance. The U.S. Census Bureau is now including refugees in its immigrant statistics. BofA Global Research anticipates that 2025 will see continued strength in the equity market despite macroeconomic uncertainties. BofA economists and strategists predict that the U.S. economy will surpass expectations, and the S&P 500 will reach 6,666 by the end of the year. Reuters indicates that Congo has initiated criminal complaints against Apple in Europe concerning conflict minerals. Meta is set to pay $31.85 million to resolve an Australian privacy lawsuit associated with the Cambridge Analytica scandal. Trump has convened with the TikTok CEO as the video app contests a potential ban, with TikTok appealing to the Supreme Court to halt a law that might prohibit the popular app. UniCredit increases its control of voting rights in Commerzbank to 28%. Starting in 2027, The U.S. will mandate rear seat belt reminders in all vehicles. A driverless bus service in Scotland will be discontinued because of insufficient interest. Rivian will reduce vehicle production in 2024 due to supply chain problems that have intensified recently. Meanwhile, Reuters indicates that the Trump transition team intends to implement a comprehensive reversal of Biden's electric vehicle and emissions policies, with Trump also planning to decrease funding for electric vehicles and charging infrastructure. Additionally, Boston Dynamics is reducing its workforce by 5% as it faces financial difficulties.
Russia apprehends an Uzbek citizen in connection with a bomb attack that killed a high-ranking general. Taiwan is negotiating with Amazon's Kuiper regarding satellite communications due to concerns about China. The Department of Homeland Security reports that China, Russia, Iran, and Israel are using SS-7 to spy on individuals in the United States. The Supreme Court declined to hear appeals from broadband groups challenging New York's rate caps, upholding the state's low-income broadband rate law. Elon Musk and SpaceX are under federal scrutiny for breaching security reporting regulations. It has been reported that Shine will need to hand over Indian data and control of local operations to re-enter the Indian market.
Meta has been penalized with a fine of $263 million due to a security breach in 2018 that impacted approximately 3 million Facebook users in the European Union. Interpol is calling for the discontinuation of the term pig butchering, as it is believed to cause distress to victims of online scams. A recent poll in the United States reveals that 41% of young voters consider the killing of the United Healthcare CEO to be an acceptable action.
Disney reaches $233 million settlement for minimum wage law violations. Teamsters initiate the most extensive strike against Amazon in U.S. history. Disney's settlement of Trump defamation case sparks controversy at ABC News.
The U.S. Supreme Court has decided to review a case challenging the TikTok ban. According to Wall Street Journal, the U.S. is considering a ban on a Chinese-manufactured router used in millions of American homes, with TP-Link potentially facing a U.S. ban due to compromised routers being exploited for Chinese attacks. China has unveiled a hit list of U.S. naval targets that could be targeted in a future conflict.
Walmart is testing body cameras for staff amid rising shopper violence in the retail sector. Honda and Nissan are set to discuss a possible large-scale merger following a joint research agreement on fundamental technologies for future SDV platforms. Newborns of TSMC employees in Taiwan account for 1.8% of the nation's total births in 2023. Canada has implemented economic sanctions targeting 5 Venezuelan officials, among them the president of the High Court. Authorities in the United States have apprehended 2 Colombian individuals involved in human smuggling. Bolivia has released an arrest warrant for former President Morales concerning trafficking a minor.
Women victimized in rape club at California prison get record $116 million settlement. U.S. repatriates 3 Guantanamo detainees, leaving 27 at prison, as U.S. releases a Kenyan prisoner held for nearly 18 years without charges, and Pentagon repatriates 2 Malaysian prisoners who admitted to war crimes linked to Bali bombing. Suspect charged with killing United Healthcare CEO as an act of terrorism.
Amazon postpones return to office requirement for many employees because of lack of office space. FedEx is separating its freight division, forming FedEx Freight spinoff to establish the biggest LTL carrier. Research indicates Waymo's autonomous taxi system offers much greater safety than human drivers. With Gaza death trap, Doctors Without Borders, the MSF report exposes Israel's campaign of total destruction. White House says Biden will visit Pope Francis and Italy's PM Meloni in final international trip of his presidency. A report from Israel claimed soldiers say open fire policies in Gaza too loose, leading to civilian deaths.
Parliament approves legislation permitting foreign banks to conduct business in Ethiopia. Syria's biggest refinery ceases operations due to the halt in Iranian oil supply. The UK election watchdog seeks new donation regulations to address potential influence from Elon Musk. It is reported that Elon Musk is contemplating financial support for Nigel Farage's Populist Party, which could significantly impact UK politics.
Chinese astronauts achieve a world record spacewalk lasting 9 hours. A Chinese company successfully tests a supersonic aircraft ramjet, advancing China's efforts to develop a supersonic engine capable of transporting passengers from Beijing to New York in just 2 hours.
NASA enveille à large Mars chopé featuring 6 rotorblades.
The Federal Reserve in the United States has decreased interest rates by 0.25 percentage points. However, it anticipates fewer rate cuts in the year 2025. Meanwhile, the Bank of Japan has maintained its interest rates at 0.25%, resulting in the yen reaching a one-month low. Additionally, China is constructing the largest artificial island airport in Dalian. Russia has enacted a law prohibiting migrant children from attending schools unless they are proficient in Russian. This move has been criticized for potentially increasing economic and security challenges. Meanwhile, China's Global Times has remarked that the spy drone incident highlights the U.S. as a source of delusion and irrationality. Additionally, thousands have gathered at the U.S. Embassy in Cuba to protest against the trade embargo.
Stonehenge might have been built to bring together early British farming communities, according to research. Malaysia has decided to initiate a fresh search for the MH370 plane, which disappeared 10 years ago with 239 individuals on board. Nigerian officials have confiscated 2.179 tons of pangolin scales and apprehended a significant broker. Volkswagen has reportedly reached an agreement with the union following intense negotiations. It has been mentioned that the Volkswagen union indicated that labor negotiations were at a standstill after 4 days of discussions. In Switzerland, the world's steepest cable car has been unveiled, which ascends to the James Bond revolving restaurant. Additionally, NASA and Axiom Space are reportedly speeding up their plans for a free-flying space station. Federal authorities claim Chinese government placed an agent in Southern California to sway local government decisions. China advises making the right choice following Trump's claim that he and she can resolve global issues. China is reportedly increasing its Pacific activities, with Taiwan invasion deemed not possible by 2027, according to Department of Defense officials.
Pakistan is reportedly working on missiles that could potentially reach the United States, according to a senior U.S. official. Meanwhile, a Pentagon report indicates that China has almost tripled its nuclear weapons since 2020. Additionally, Elon Musk's criticism of F-35s has sparked a discussion about the high cost of these fighter jets. In response, the Air Force Secretary has countered Musk's remarks on eliminating manned fighters, emphasizing he is not a warfighter. AirPods generated sales exceeding $18 billion last year, surpassing the total revenue of Nintendo. Netflix has filed a lawsuit against Broadcom's VMware concerning U.S. virtual machine patents. MicroStrategy is seeking the authority to issue a sufficient number of shares to purchase the entire global supply of Bitcoin.
BYD construction site in Brazil closed due to slavery-like conditions. In the U.S., the CFPB has filed a lawsuit against Walmart and Branch Messenger for unlawfully opening deposit accounts for over 1 million delivery drivers, resulting in Walmart and Branch collecting more than $10 million in junk fees through the Spark Driver program. In the UK, King Charles has terminated royal warrants for Unilever, the owner of Ben & Jerry's and Cadbury chocolatiers.
Trump promises to prioritize ending transgender policies. According to the Washington Post, over 3,100 students perished in schools designed to suppress Native American traditions. Pro-Palestinian students have filed a lawsuit against the University of Michigan regarding the suppression of protests, and it has been reported as Care Michigan, along with pro-Palestinian students, alumni, and various student groups, is taking legal action against the University of Michigan for infringing upon free speech, due process, and equal protection rights. Scientists suggest that Uranus and Neptune might have oceans extending 5,000 miles deep. The NHTSA proposes a national program for vehicles with automated driving systems, creating a voluntary review and reporting framework to evaluate and oversee specific vehicles equipped with these systems. It has been speculated that Elon Musk is so wealthy he could purchase every MLB, NBA, NFL, NHL team and still have money remaining.
Israeli settlers set mosque on fire in occupied West Bank. At least 2 dead as car slams into crowded Christmas market in Germany, Saudi doctor who crashed into German Christmas market, killing at least 2, is an anti-Islam activist, claimed in a 7-year-old dies in stabbing attack at Croatia school.
Elon Musk reiterates that his $1 billion proposal to Wikipedia remains valid. A year prior, Musk suggested renaming Wikipedia to Dikipedia in exchange for the funds. Additionally, Arizona has approved a school inspired by Musk that employs AI to educate students for only 2 hours daily. Lastly, Musk has been revealed as a paid subscriber to a South African X account that promotes shockingly racist and pro-apartheid views. Texas Sovereignty Act would allow Texas to declare federal actions unconstitutional. Bosnia's Serb lawmakers move to block state institutions, EU integration. Lending may have slowed faster than necessary in Russia's inflation fight, says central bank official. Former Taipei mayor faces charges of bribery and improper use of political donations. China revises its 2023 economic size estimate upwards. Bosnia experiences over 200,000 power outages in homes following a Balkan snowstorm.
Trump's Christmas message includes threats to annex Canada, control the Panama Canal, and claim Greenland. Biden promises additional U.S. weapons to Ukraine following Russia's Christmas offensive. Media report that a Russian air defense missile might have intercepted an Azerbaijani aircraft.
The Hill notes that Congress possesses the authority to prevent Trump from assuming office, yet legislators must take immediate action. It is reported that Trump has advocated for alterations in voting procedures, and GOP majorities in Congress intend to pursue this. Americans are fatigued by political updates. TV ratings and a recent AP NORC survey indicate they are increasingly disengaging. Trump's border czar announces that migrant families will be re-incarcerated in detention centers.
A Russian cargo ship that sank near the Spanish coast was reportedly targeted by an act of terrorism, according to the ship's owner, as cited by RIA. The Finnish Prime Minister announced that Finland is examining the disruption of an undersea power connection to Estonia. Palestinian factions have transferred weapons to the Lebanese army and relinquished their headquarters. 21 individuals have lost their lives due to violent unrest in Mozambique, following a controversial election ruling. Meanwhile, the Ethiopian military has taken the decision to seal the border with Somaliland as hostilities break out in the Somali region. Additionally, Toyota has announced a donation of $1 million to support the inauguration of Donald Trump. In 2024, a total of $2.2 billion was stolen from cryptocurrency platforms. However, the volume of hacks remained relatively stable as the year progressed, with activity from the DPRK slowing significantly after July. Research indicates that Bitcoin would require more than 300 consecutive days of downtime to effectively protect itself from the looming threat of quantum computing. Bloomberg notes that the removal of Tether could jeopardize Europe's opportunity to participate in the anticipated cryptocurrency boom, led by Trump.
El Salvador plans to reduce its Bitcoin initiatives as part of a $1.4 billion IMF agreement. Hong Kong has granted licenses to 4 new cryptocurrency trading platforms in its regulatory advancement. Illegal casinos are exploiting the online game platform Roblox to attract children into gambling activities. China's industrial profits have continued to decrease for the 4th consecutive month, with a 7.3% drop in November. Meanwhile, the UK economy experienced stagnation in the last quarter, as indicated by revised figures. In contrast, the U.S. retail real estate market is thriving, contradicting forecasts of an e-commerce-driven downturn.
A new law mandates that U.S. agencies must exchange custom source code with one another. The FDA has introduced a proposal for a rule that would necessitate standardized testing methods to detect and identify asbestos in talc-containing cosmetic products. Supersonic passenger planes are moving closer to a comeback, following a successful Boom XB-1 test flight that approached the sound barrier. IDF relaxed engagement rules post-October 7, increasing civilian casualties, as per New York Times report. Israel targets broadcast van, resulting in the deaths of 5 Palestinian journalists in Gaza. Israel conducts airstrike on Houthi rebels in Yemen's capital, with Houthi chief claiming proximity. In the United States, former President Trump insists on renegotiating a bipartisan budget agreement just days before the potential shutdown. Meanwhile, the House GOP, influenced by Elon Musk, is considering abandoning the spending bill. Mike Johnson is encountering increasing opposition from within the GOP, as Musk advocates for a government shutdown. Additionally, a poll indicates that most Americans disapprove of Trump's suggestions to challenge the boundaries of democracy. Lastly, Democrats mock Trump as the vice president, while Musk interferes with the government funding bill.
Musk and Trump are perceived similarly by Americans, according to an AP NORC poll. Trump declares that federal employees unwilling to return to the office will be dismissed. It has been reported that Elon Musk is now wealthier than Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg together. Trump expresses willingness to pardon NYC Mayor Eric Adams. NYC Mayor's campaign rejects millions in public matching funds. Steve Bannon asserts Trump's eligibility to run again in 2028. Kamala Harris aide admits Democrats losing hold of culture as influencer media shifts right. Trump says he'll sue pollster and Seltzer for wrong prediction. AP reports that man sentenced for helping pregnant Chinese women travel to give birth in the U.S., as Rancho Cucamonga man sentenced to more than 3 years in prison for operating birth tourism scheme for affluent Chinese clients.
North Korea is accused of a $305 million hack on the Japanese crypto exchange DMM in May, with hackers allegedly stealing $1.3 billion in crypto this year. Russia has banned crypto mining for 6 years in 10 regions due to energy concerns, according to TASS. Hyperliquid experienced a $60 million USDC outflow amid worries about North Korean hackers.
Sweden will no longer fund UNRWA aid agency, minister says. AP comments as, for thousands of Jews, Israel still doesn't feel safe after the October 7th attacks. So they're leaving. In the U.S., EPA staffers demand Biden release climate funds withheld over Gaza. 7 months ago, a pro-Hamas group got $50 million U.S. grant under Inflation Reduction Act, senator says. The Hill comments as, Musk floods X with spending bill misinformation. The Atlantic comments as, the GOP is treating Musk like he's in charge. The Guardian comments as, Elon Musk is becoming a one-man rogue state. It's time we reined him in.
A former high-ranking assistant to New York City's mayor has been indicted in a bribery conspiracy. In Malaysia, a court has cleared Najib's wife, Rosma, of charges related to money laundering and tax evasion. According to recent SEC filings, Trump has moved all his DJT shares into his revocable trust. Donald Trump expresses a desire to lead the charge in eliminating the debt ceiling and warns of a government shutdown if his demand for a debt limit increase is not met, attributing blame to Biden if such an event occurs. Rand Paul suggests Elon Musk as a candidate for House Speaker. Paris Hilton considers a potential political campaign, following her successful advocacy for an at-risk youth bill. Elon Musk's alleged drug use and connections with Vladimir Putin have reportedly hindered SpaceX from seeking higher security clearance, according to a report. Following an investigation into January 6, the House GOP has aligned with Trump and targeted Liz Cheney. Previously, Trump advocated for an FBI investigation into Republican Liz Cheney regarding her involvement in the January 6 panel. Trump mentioned that Liz Cheney could be in a lot of trouble due to her actions with the January 6 committee. Uber and its CEO have each contributed $1 million to Trump's inaugural fund.
Russia's central bank maintains its key interest rate at 21%. During a lengthy live event, Putin reflects that he should have initiated a full-scale invasion of Ukraine earlier. The Russian government mandates IDS to disclose the identities of VPN users, continuing its crackdown a year after the ban of the Shadow Socks protocol. Trump wants 5% NATO defense spending target, Europe told, and Trump says European Union must buy U.S. oil and gas in trade ultimatum. Alaska governor asks Trump to roll back restrictions on oil and gas drilling. Trump team warns Starmer's horrible, arrogant ambassador pick means Britain will be locked out of key discussions, as Trump campaign advisor calls incoming UK ambassador to US a moron. Elon Musk sparks backlash with post claiming only far-right AfD can save Germany. Harvard Law enrollment plummets for Black and Hispanic students as Black enrollment at Harvard Law lowest since 1960s after affirmative action ruling. Fox News reports that tech journalist putting together investor group to buy Washington Post rejects Elon Musk in advance. Italian privacy watchdog imposes $15.5 million fine on OpenAI for data usage in ChatGPT. Malaysia declares Facebook and TikTok required to obtain license, according to NST reports. The European Union urges Apple to make AirDrop and AirPlay accessible to Android and other platforms.
Putin indicates no immediate plans to conclude the Ukraine conflict during extended TV session. European Union has allocated €130 billion in aid for Ukraine, according to von der Leyen. Ukrainian Prime Minister announces cessation of Russian gas transit through Ukraine on January 1, 2025.
Biden vetoes bill that would have created dozens of new federal judge slots. Trump addresses Elon Musk's growing political influence. He's not going to be president. Biden gives life in prison to 37 of 40 federal death row inmates before Trump can resume executions. Ivanka Trump describes politics as a dark world and chooses to leave the political arena. Trump promises to restore Denali's name to Mount McKinley and asserts that the U.S. acquiring Greenland is an absolute necessity. An analyst suggests that a potential prohibition on direct-to-consumer pharmaceutical ads could be the biggest threat to RFK Jr.'s appointment as HHS Secretary.
Houthis claim responsibility for shooting down an American aircraft, despite CENTCOM's suggestion of friendly fire. Iran faces an energy crisis, partly due to strikes linked to Israel. CARE has issued a statement condemning the anti-Muslim extremists' attack at a Christmas market in Germany and urging Elon Musk to cease spreading misinformation regarding the incident. Germany's SPD advocates for an antitrust law to limit Elon Musk's influence, while Musk endorses a far-right party in Germany's upcoming election. In the U.S., Representative Tony Gonzalez remarks that Musk seems to be acting like the country's prime minister amid funding turmoil. The Hill notes that Ocasio-Cortez's political future is currently uncertain.
Wall Street Journal. White House aides shielded Biden from public interaction. Reason: Joe Biden attempted to utilize the regulatory state to oversee all aspects. Biden approves legislation to finance the government until March 2025. Trump designates The Apprentice producer as a special envoy to Britain. Interim South Korean president impeached mere 2 weeks following the ousting of former leader. Musk and Ramaswamy encounter backlash from MAGA supporters after advocating for foreign workers in tech firms, with Musk endorsing a post implying Americans are too retarded for skilled jobs. Americans are fatigued by political news, as indicated by declining TV ratings and a recent AP-NORC poll showing increased disengagement. Estonia's navy will safeguard the undersea power link following damage to the main cable. Finland has detained a tanker associated with Russia after additional undersea Baltic cables were severed, prompting NATO to enhance its military presence in the Baltic due to suspected sabotage. An investigation in Azerbaijan reportedly concludes that a Russian missile was responsible for a fatal crash. It is said that pilots perished along with numerous others in a Christmas Day plane crash, yet they managed to assist half of the passengers in surviving. Russia claims the Azerbaijan Airlines flight that crashed had been diverted due to fog and an alert from a Ukrainian drone. Russia releases a propaganda video depicting the shooting down of Santa Claus.
Jujutsu Kaisen is the top-selling manga of 2024. Users have filed a lawsuit against Discord, alleging that the Nitro subscription is excessively challenging to cancel. A research study reveals that 75% of Facebook shares are done without the person having read the content.
Biden administration eliminates rules to increase birth control availability. Cardinal Dolan compares Trump's spiritual path to America's renewed focus on God during difficult periods. Trump announces intention to pursue the death penalty for violent criminals. Recent studies indicate that the moon might have originated just a brief time following the formation of the Earth. A full mastodon jaw was discovered in New York when a homeowner noticed teeth in their backyard. The earliest recognized mammal ancestors have been found on the Spanish island of Majorca. Experiencing structural sexism from birth is linked to quicker memory decline in late life for both Black and white women in the U.S. 13 ancient Egyptian mummies were discovered with gold tongues, believed to assist them in speaking in the afterlife. Simulations reveal that the ancient hominin Lucy was not an adept runner. Studies suggest that the axon terminals of neurons might be irregular in shape rather than smooth. Distinct microbial communities have been found under the icy surface of Antarctica's Lake Enigma. Research indicates that humans began feeding salmon to dogs around 12,000 years ago, possibly indicating the early stages of our bond with canines.
The once popular theory that volcanoes were responsible for the extinction of the dinosaurs has now been disproven. Meanwhile, the James Webb Telescope has detected organic molecules moving around unborn stars, suggesting the potential formation of Earth-like planets. Additionally, Netflix plans to offer rewards to participants of Squid Game, unleashed for extensively watching Squid Game Season 2.
Top AI chatbots exhibit cognitive decline similar to dementia in tests, prompting concerns about their potential role in medicine. A survey indicates that the majority of U.S. teenagers are avoiding alcohol, tobacco, and marijuana. New research highlights that Black adults with long COVID experience elevated feelings of hopelessness and suicidal ideation.
Research highlights 13 proteins significantly linked to brain aging, with these proteins appearing to increase at ages 57, 70, and 78. The FDA has given the green light to Zepbound tirzepatide as the sole prescription medication for moderate to severe obstructive sleep apnea in adults with obesity. Initially, Zepbound was approved for weight reduction. A group showcases the first instance of quantum teleportation using congested internet cables.
Microplastics in the air may be leading to lung and colon cancers. In the U.S., the FDA announced an update the healthy claim that manufacturers can voluntarily use on food packages, which contain a certain amount of recommended food and meet specific limits in sugars, fat, and sodium. California squirrels have developed a taste for meat in surprise discovery. Research indicates the initial proof of ancient religious practices in a Galilee cave with a 35,000 years old tortoise shell carving potentially representing the Holy Land's earliest ritual behavior. A silver amulet discovered in a Frankfurt grave is considered the oldest evidence of Christianity located north of the Alps. The sarcophagus of the real Santa Claus has been found in a Turkish church annex. Chili peppers are becoming less spicy due to global warming. Enhancements in physical appearance lead to more pro-social actions. Internet use might enhance mental health benefits for older adults. A recent bioacoustics study has discovered that leopards can be distinguished from other big cats by their distinctive roar. In an exciting paleontological find, a new species of carnivorous dinosaur has been unearthed in Kyrgyzstan. Health experts are advising individuals to engage in at least 150 minutes of aerobic exercise each week to facilitate weight loss.
Critics, rather than fans, are responsible for spreading the myth of the unsuccessful second album. According to a study, research indicates that middle children tend to develop into more honest and cooperative individuals compared to only children. A study finds that sexualized self-presentation is prevalent in the visuals on dating apps, which is associated with negative body image.
Drinking tea or coffee daily may lower the risk of mouth and throat cancer. The FDA in the U.S. suggests discontinuing oral phenylephrine as the over-the-counter monograph active ingredient for nasal decongestants following a thorough review. A newly discovered scorpion species uses a spitting mechanism to protect itself. Jet lag occurs because your metabolism adjusts faster than your brain, according to a recent study. A study reveals that commercial tea bags emit millions of microplastics, which penetrate human intestinal cells. In the United Kingdom, electricity prices have dropped below zero due to unprecedented wind farm production. Roku locks exclusive U.S. streaming rights for X Games Aspen and a soon-to-be-announced X Games event coming summer 2025. The Golden Globes 2025 gift bags feature $1 million worth of items. Brazilian judge orders Adele's song removed over plagiarism claim. Popeye and Tintin will become public domain characters in 2025, joining works by Faulkner and Hemingway. Disney has removed a transgender storyline from Pixar's Win or Lose series, stating that many parents would prefer to discuss certain subjects on their own terms. A UCLA diversity report reveals that white men dominate the most watched streaming shows as lead actors, series creators, and audiences desire fresh, more diverse content.
BBC Studios and the Walt Disney Company have unveiled their first Bluey animated feature film. Tom Cruise has been honored with the U.S. Navy's highest civilian award. The directors for Beyond the Spider-Verse have been announced as Bob Persichetti and Justin K. Thompson. YouTube is currently testing a feature that allows creators to post voice notes as comments. The developer of Balatro humorously criticizes Peggy for rating the game 18+ due to its evil playing cards and suggests adding microtransactions like those in EA Sports FC 25 to potentially reduce the rating to a 3+. The producer of Black Myth, Wukong, appears frustrated about not winning Game of the Year. In the U.S., for National Film Registry Dirty Dancing, Beverly Hills Cop, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, among 25 movies added 2024. Scream 7 sets Mason Gooding to return for horror sequel. A once-a-century superflare from the sun is long overdue, scientists say, as violent superflares explode from sun-like stars every 100 years.
Sony's executive claims that Madam Web and Craven were decent films, but they were unfairly criticized. In 2024, Steam introduced a record number of games, adding more than 18,000 new titles to the platform. Scarlett Johansson is ranked highest on McAfee's 2024 U.S. Celebrity Hacker Hot List, as she is the most commonly used celebrity name in online scams. Universal Music and Amazon have broadened their collaboration, committing to tackling the issue of unauthorized AI-generated content. A report revealed that Arcane cost Riot Games $250 million to produce. Apple is reportedly developing a smart doorbell system that may use Face ID to unlock your door. Ringo Starr and Paul McCartney unexpectedly reunited in London to perform a timeless Beatles classic. FIFA and Netflix have entered into a groundbreaking agreement to broadcast the 2027 and 2031 editions of the FIFA Women's World Cup. Blue Sky is planning to launch a paid subscription tier that will offer exclusive features.
YouTube announces stricter measures against clickbait titles in India. Influencers predict that Meta's platforms, particularly Instagram, will gain the most if a U.S. TikTok ban occurs, with Instagram projected to account for over half of Meta's U.S. ad revenue by 2025, according to a report. MrBeast leases Egyptian pyramids for 100 hours to create a YouTube video.
Real Madrid secures victory against Pachuca to claim the FIFA Intercontinental Cup. The global box office is anticipated to reach $33 billion by 2025. LeBron James becomes the NBA's all-time leader in regular season minutes played, surpassing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
YouTube announces that its technology will soon detect AI replicas of celebrities and creators. This comes as YouTube collaborates with CAA to allow talent to identify and remove AI deepfakes of themselves. Meanwhile, a U.S. trade tribunal determines that Lenovo smartphones violate Ericsson patents. Additionally, Forbes is severing relationships with freelance writers due to Google's spam policies. Khloe Kardashian will debut her video podcast on X in January. A study by York University suggests that banning smartphones at school leads to better sleep and an enhanced mood. The European Union plans to investigate TikTok's involvement in the Romanian elections. Waymo is broadening its global reach by introducing its autonomous vehicle fleet to Tokyo. Meanwhile, ARM and Qualcomm have initiated a trial concerning AI PC chips. Additionally, gallium prices have surged to their highest level since 2011 due to export restrictions imposed by China. Eminem delivered an epic opening to Saudi Arabia's huge Middlebeast Soundstorm Music Festival, which is helping Saudi artists gain more opportunities, according to the event's chief. The sequel to The Batman is scheduled for a 2027 release, while a film featuring Tom Cruise and Alejandro G. Inarritu 2 is set for 2026. Additionally, Sinners and Mickey 17 have swapped their release dates. Trump mentioned that Bill Gates requested a meeting, possibly as a signal to Musk.
Netflix's NFL Christmas Game Day attracted 65 million viewers in the US. The Infinite Loop game, Exit 8, is set to be transformed into a live-action movie in 2025. Tokyo has developed a comprehensive 3D model of the entire city. Sonic the Hedgehog 4 in the works for 2027 release. In Japan, Evangelion anime launches transforming fast food robots in McDonald's collaboration. Nintendo Switch finally surpasses PlayStation 2's lifetime sales in the US.
Bloomberg's editor-in-chief asserts that paywalls are the most secure method to ensure job stability for journalists. Mozilla warns that the proposed contractual remedies in the United States versus Google case could jeopardize the essential function of independent browsers. New Zealand becomes the first country to offer a nationwide direct-to-smartphone Starlink service.
Databricks co-founder proposes a $1 million reward to address AI coding challenges. IDC reveals that China has surpassed other countries to become the largest market for wrist-worn devices, driving global expansion. A Chinese self-driving trucking firm shifts its focus to generative AI for developing video games.
Apple discontinues iPhone hardware subscription service development. Apple discusses AI feature implementation with Tencent and ByteDance in China, according to sources. EU increases demands on Apple to share features with competitors, while Apple argues that Meta's 15 data law requests would compromise privacy. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella claims that Google earns more revenue from Windows than Microsoft itself, highlighting Google's stronghold in search and distribution. Bing search is enhanced with speed, accuracy, and efficiency using SLM models and TensorRT LLM. Seagate introduces a 32 TB Exos M hard drive utilizing HAMR technology. GitHub is facing a significant issue with 4.5 million inauthentic stars, which is causing confusion among users. Meanwhile, Microsoft has acknowledged an auto HDR bug in Windows 11 and has consequently halted updates. Additionally, Tether has announced a $775 million investment in the video sharing platform Rumble, leading to a remarkable 41% increase in RUM shares.
Thai Emotion must pay $123 million for misleading investors about Terra USD's stability. A Romanian national in the US is sentenced to 20 years for NetWalker ransomware attacks, which led to millions in ransom payments. In the US, a theft of 5 million payment card details serves as a cautionary reminder to monitor Christmas spending. Google proposes to relax its search agreements in the US antitrust case settlement. Qualcomm asserts victory in its trial with ARM regarding chip design licenses. Over 140 Facebook moderators in Kenya have been diagnosed with severe PTSD.
CFPB takes legal action against JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo regarding fraudulent Zelle payments. In the United States, Meta's WhatsApp receives a court decision that holds the spyware developer NSO responsible for hacking, with the judge determining that the NSO group is liable for spyware attacks on 1,400 WhatsApp user devices. The Play ransomware gang asserts a breach in data theft at Krispy Kreme.
Ascension, a U.S. hospital operator, announced that 5.6 million individuals were impacted by a medical data breach that occurred in May. Meanwhile, McDonald's India delivery system allegedly revealed personal customer information because of an API bug. Additionally, the U.S. has charged a dual Russian and Israeli national with being a developer of the Lockbit ransomware group.
Meta is allegedly incorporating screens into its Ray-Ban smart glasses. Xerox plans to acquire printer manufacturer Lexmark from Chinese owners in a $1.5 billion transaction. It is reportedly that AirPods might feature temperature sensing, heart rate measurement, and a camera for Apple Intelligence.
U.S. Commerce Secretary Raimondo declares that attempting to slow China in the chip race is an irrational pursuit. Russia has reportedly developed a roadmap for producing a cost-effective and straightforward lithograph, surpassing ASML's complexity. Experts and lawmakers anticipate that U.S. agriculture will become a new frontier in cybersecurity in the coming year. Pharrell, Elton John, and Lainey Wilson are included in the Oscars' Best Original Song shortlist. Levi's is collaborating with Bob Dylan to recreate his wardrobe for A Complete Unknown. An animated Ghostbusters movie is being developed by Sony Animation and Netflix. Reuters indicates that several OnlyFans accounts allegedly involved child sex abuse, according to investigator reports. Malaysian authorities conduct child pornography raids in anticipation of the social media licensing deadline. The government has confirmed the deadline as January 1, 2025, stated Fahmy. Iran removes bans on WhatsApp and Google Play, pledging greater online access.
Federal authorities in the U.S. have issued a warning that SMS authentication is unsafe following what they describe as the worst hack in our nation's history. The government has also advised against using SMS codes for two-factor authentication, 2FA, on iPhones and Android devices. Additionally, the FTC has reported that the massive Marriott and Starwood data breaches necessitate 13 corrective actions. Furthermore, the U.S. government plans to reveal the key witness who supplied the FBI with a backdoored encrypted chat app called Anim.
Dahua Technology, a company from China, plans to withdraw from its projects located in Xinjiang. Meanwhile, Vietnam has implemented new regulations concerning the internet, aiming to enhance online accountability. Additionally, Honey, a well-known browser extension that has been endorsed by MrBeast and more than 1,000 YouTube channels, is facing allegations of being a scam.
War Thunder forums have experienced 2 classified intel leaks this month. A German watchdog has mandated that Sam Altman's biometric ID project, World, must erase data. Spotify has refuted Drake's assertion that it artificially inflated Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us streams. In response, Drake's legal team has retaliated.
Japan's antitrust authority is expected to determine that Google breached the law in a search-related case, according to Nikkei. Meanwhile, Trump considers the possibility of allowing TikTok to remain operational for a short period. Additionally, a recent Crunchyroll report reveals that Sony executives previously regarded anime as mere children's cartoons. Digital health companies faced significant challenges from Wall Street in 2024 as the industry adjusted to the slowdown following the COVID pandemic. Alibaba and eMart are planning to establish a $4 billion e-commerce joint venture in Korea. In the United States, holiday retail sales increased by 3.8%, according to MasterCard, primarily due to a rise in restaurant and clothing sales.
Taiwan halts Uber's $950 million acquisition of foodpanda due to competition worries. Fiserv, a major financial services company, acquires Payfare to expand into gig economy financing. Turkey strengthens its cryptocurrency AML regulations, requiring user information for transactions by 2025.
Apple aims to protect Google's substantial payments in the search case, with Eddie Q stating that terminating the Google search partnership would severely limit Apple. Meanwhile, South Korea is considering establishing a KSMC contract chipmaker to rival TSMC, necessitating a $13.9 billion investment. Additionally, SanDisk has introduced a stylish new design influenced by the mindset of motion. Ant Group divides Alipay into 2 separate business units as part of its recent restructuring efforts. According to Reuters, Synopsys' proposed $35 billion acquisition of Onsys is expected to receive approval from the EU, as indicated by sources. Apple is approaching a significant milestone in the U.S. stock market, nearing a valuation of $4 trillion.
Lilium, a company developing flying taxis, has terminated the employment of 1,000 individuals and halted its business activities. CATL has introduced the Bedrock chassis, which is capable of enduring a 120 km/h impact without igniting or exploding. Nissan and Honda have declared their intention to merge, forming the world's 3rd largest automotive manufacturer. GitHub introduces a complementary version of its Copilot. OpenAI reveals 1-800-ChatGPT, a service enabling phone calls and messages with ChatGPT. Microsoft has purchased approximately 500,000 NVIDIA Hopper chips this year, marking a significant acquisition of NVIDIA AI chips that surpasses that of its competitors.
Google DeepMind's Veo 2 AI video generator surpasses OpenAI's Sora by offering 4K resolution. YouTube is now allowing creators to choose to participate in third-party AI training. Meta is introducing live AI, translations, and Shazam capabilities to its smart glasses.
OpenAI reveals it requires additional capital beyond initial expectations, as it introduces a for-profit strategy. Chinese DeepSeek V3, an ultra-large open-source AI, surpasses Llama and Qwen upon its release. A collection of small robots collaborates to accomplish ant-like feats of strength.
Japan's MUFG Bank experiences cyberattack similar to JL's. Metropolitan Police Department investigating the origin of the attacks. French authorities accuse Telegram's CEO of aiding criminal activities on the platform. A poll reveals that most Americans attribute the UHC CEO's death to insurance profits and denials, in addition to the killer. Saturn's rings might have existed since the formation of the gas giant, according to a study. Archaeologists are uncovering dugout canoes in the American Midwest that date back as far as the Great Pyramids of Egypt. Children born during World War II sugar rationing grew into healthier adults.
Toyota's humanoid robot, capable of playing basketball, successfully makes an 80-feet shot, setting a new record. Godfather of AI warns that artificial intelligence might lead to human extinction within the next decade. Airbnb has implemented anti-party measures for New Year's Eve worldwide. A year ago, it was announced that Airbnb would use AI to enforce New Year's Eve parties restrictions globally. Google is reportedly enhancing its Gemini AI with Anthropic's Claude. Some have remarked, the dawn of a new era. OpenAI's O3 model surpasses the best of us. Others have noted, healthcare AI, intended to save money, turns out to require a lot of expensive humans. Accenture's generative AI sales achieve unprecedented $4.2 billion. Broadcom's CEO Hock Tan predicts the AI spending surge will persist until the decade's conclusion. It is said that OpenAI's GPT-5 is not meeting anticipated standards.
U.S. data center power consumption might almost triple by 2028, according to a report supported by the Department of Energy. Google plans to provide AI-generated conversational responses in its search engine. Sam Altman regards Elon Musk as a friend, despite ongoing lawsuits and bullying, as describes Musk as a bully, yet a legendary entrepreneur. UK arts and media reject plan to let AI firms use copyrighted material. Lil Wayne's AI Kendrick Lamar diss track goes viral and causes confusion. Anthropic announced alignment faking in large language model's answer, where the model believes its responses won't be used for training. Youth drug use in the U.S. is experiencing a significant decline following the pandemic. Veteran suicides have decreased since 2018, according to a new VA report, but they continue to be persistently steady. Immigration is propelling U.S. population growth to its highest rate in 23 years, with residents surpassing 340 million.
A survey reports that more than half of Hong Kongers are experiencing depression, marking the highest level in 7 years. In 2025, the Oregon psilocybin industry in the U.S. will concentrate on refining its pioneering program. A study has revealed that a Chinese gene has remained unchanged for 3,000 years in the region, known as the cradle of civilization.
The notorious paper that widely promoted an unverified COVID-19 treatment has been withdrawn. According to the New York Times, major corporations accepted undisclosed payments to facilitate the unrestricted distribution of opioids. An Alabama woman is reportedly in exceptional health following the third-ever pig kidney transplant, according to doctors. She receives a kidney from a pig years after donating one herself. Tokyo introduces a free daycare policy to encourage an increase in the birth rate. It has been described as Wall Street bankers working 90 hours a week, using Adderall at their desks. Research indicates that over 1 million vapes are discarded daily in the UK.
Amazon allegedly ignored internal injury warnings. According to a Senate investigation, Alibaba from China plans to sell its department store division, resulting in a $1.3 billion loss. Australians are being cautioned to brace for extreme heat and potential fires, affecting millions.
Men die from pneumonia after using bat poop to grow marijuana. It has been commented that Copyright abuse is getting Luigi Mangione merch removed from the internet, as United Health gets Luigi Mangione t-shirt pulled with copyright complaint. Disturbing murder case solved after Google Street View catches suspected killer putting body in trunk.
Chinese behavior remarks by MIT scientist Rosalind Picard rattle top AI conference, as NeurIPS keynote speaker apologizes for reference to Chinese student. Flat earthers befuddled as they visit Antarctica, and Earth appears to be round. Cats beat babies at word association study finds.
In the UK, Watchdog is set to release new guidelines following a report that suggests air fryers might be eavesdropping. An astonishingly lifelike AI Santa is now available for free use, potentially rendering traditional mall Santas obsolete. Googly eyes have been spotted on public art in Oregon. In 2024, over 10,000 migrants perished attempting to reach Spain via sea, according to an aid organization. Abu Dhabi has introduced a golden visa program targeting superyacht owners. It is claimed that the Assad regime generated billions through the production and export of party drugs.
Abbott and Dexcom are introducing the first CWT.MS, continuous glucose monitoring, available without a prescription. In 2023, 40% of registered births in Spain were to mothers over the age of 35. In the UK, priests have been advised to provide context for Christmas carols to ensure diverse communities feel included.
UK mobile users experienced the least reliability in the G7 in 2024, according to data. The Hill notes that Trump is bringing Silicon Valley to Washington and is set to establish a historic tech legacy. It is reported that Elon Musk's meetings with foreign leaders alongside Trump are concerning Washington insiders.
Centuries-old floor patched with sliced bones discovered in the Netherlands. In the U.S., EPA approves pilot project to make road out of radioactive material in Florida. Owner of dog meat restaurant in Vietnam dies of rabies. Vatican moves forward with beatification process for Belgium's former king, who abdicated to avoid approving abortion. 11 years ago, King Albert II of Belgium stepped down in favor of his son. In his Christmas message, Pope Francis condemns gossip among Vatican employees. Europol reports that cartels, mafias, and gangs in Europe are exploiting fruit companies, hotels, and other legitimate businesses as fronts.
Trump attributes any potential shutdown to President Biden, stating it is his responsibility to resolve. The government funding bill has successfully passed and is now on its way to Biden, effectively preventing a shutdown. Meanwhile, Steve Bannon advocates for raising taxes on the affluent. Additionally, the Social Security Fairness Act has been forwarded to Biden, aiming to repeal provisions that diminish Social Security benefits for individuals who also receive